And Calder came up with this motor-driven mobile that was wonderful, and we got it all installed. And Calder was a wonderful artist, but he was not a technologist. And he gave us the wrong weight, the wrong this. We can't tell you how many tons of steel were added to the building, more than the $70,000 I found in my budget, to structure the thing, to put in his final creation. And we set this motor drive, we had this thing sort of just very gently moving in the space, and Calder showed up, walked into it, looked at it in his French. He had virtually no English. Where is the motor? He went bang, bang, bang. And it was like absolutely an explosion in there with this thing zooming around in space. When he left, we toned it down a little, but we never would have cranked it up as high. And the space became live because nobody had ever seen a plane empty out that many people before. These were the first 747s coming in and unloading all these people into this wonderful place with this huge Calder. Lighting and architecture wouldn't have made that space, but Calder made that space.
But what was the contribution of the lighting to
We
the sculpture?
allowed the sculpture to be seen.
Well, you make it sound so damn simple.
That lighting, the tough part was getting to Calder. What could I do? Lighting would never do that. You could have some great aurora borealis, or you could do some of the stuff that Wilfrid did, Thomas Wilfrid with the Lumiere, and all of that stuff. Nothing like this. And people see this, and you have to be able to do that.
So people don't talk about the Calder, don't talk about the lighting of the Calder.
No.
The Calder.
Sure, that's all. Who cares? But the lighting.
The end result of it.
Yeah, do people like this place? That's what counts. The one thing you learn in the theater is that it's a collaboration. There are several arts. From the director, to the actor, to the makeup artist, to the costumer, to the scenic designer. You're all working toward one end, the performance. And so there's no, the director gets all the credit, the actors get the credit, but the team puts it together and in a good spirit.
What role do the reviews play? You've been in this business a long time. You've had reviews,
Yeah.
positive.
Yeah.
You've had reviews, negative.
Yes.
Obviously,
I don't think the reviews play a big role in influencing the design. I think what the reviews do is bring you notoriety. Certainly I could care less what any reviewer thought about my work.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I find it hard to believe that somebody could, by looking at it, know exactly what my client wanted. I only care what my review is from what my client is. And Walter Annenberg, the great philanthropist, I did one project for him at the University of Pennsylvania, which was the master plan for the lighting, and did a demonstration project. And I went through all the things that I normally do, which is telling everybody exactly what it is they're going to see. I don't want them to come up with some impression of what they're going to get. I want them to know what they're going to get. So it's clear, and I'll do whatever it takes to make that clear. Walter Annenberg walked over to me when that job opened, and he said, Howard, this place looks exactly the way you told me it would. I was smitten by that simple sentence. And it was really clear to me how important this philosophic base really was. Because Walter Annenberg, our ambassador, could speak something that simply. And it was clear that that was the ultimate compliment, that it looked exactly the way I said it would. And
Did he say that because he understood?
Of course he understood. He understood. He looked at it. He said, yes, this is exactly what he said was going to happen. And it did.
What is your greatest... Well, I'm going to get to the end of this thing here. Tell us, what's some of the bigger projects that everybody recognizes? What did you get out of it? What was the goal? What was the mission?
Well, the one that everybody knows, of course, is the Statue of Liberty. You know, that is, you know, how do you get a job like that? I mean, again, it falls in, you know, the basic thing. If somebody wants you to do this job, they will call you. I got this phone call. Said, hey, Howard, how would you like to light the Statue of Liberty? I said, of course I would, you know.
Who was the call from?
Richard Hayden, who was the architect for the Statue of Liberty. We were working for, eventually I was hired and worked for the French-American Committee, who hired the team to do that. And it took a little while for me to understand what a significant commission this was, you know. And they were trying to tell me that, you know, my friends, saying, you know, guys would give their eye teeth for this project. They'd say, yeah, I know, you know, I'm thinking about it. And then I went back to basics, you know, back to my same basics. You know, that it was really clear to me that when you're lighting the Statue of Liberty, it should not be a lighting tour de force. This was a symbol. It was not a lighting tour de force. It had to be a statement that recognized this statue. So I went back to the beginnings. I looked up all the history. I did a total historical analysis of when the statue appeared, all of the things that had occurred, all of the attempts at lighting it, and how the city grew around the statue. The statue was the tallest structure in New York when it was there. And it loomed over the harbor. Now it was diminished by the surround of the buildings. And I wanted to restore some of this sense of presence. And I wanted to make her look good. Well, one of the great advantages of that job is you had the statue there. So you had a full-size mock-up. And I would go and I would get in a boat and I'd ride around the statue. I'd drive over the bridges. I'd go over to New Jersey, look at it from there, and I'm trying to think, now what do I do? You know, meanwhile, I'm shipping boatloads of equipment out there for mock-ups.
Right.
You know, that's my middle name, mock-up.
Howard Mock-up?
Yeah.
What is your middle name?
Marvin.
Marvin.
but everybody knows how I do. Everybody who's ever worked in an office understands a mock-up because they built one, at least. So I had all these lights and I was shining it on the statue, you know, from here and there and going crazy. And,
What kind of problems do you have?
well, it was really clear, you know, after thinking about it for a while, that the source manufacturers do not make lights that flatter ladies with green skin. And this is a real problem. And I could see why the guys before me had had such difficulty, you know, in doing this. So I'm there one morning. Just at daybreak, I went down to the dock to catch the early workboat. And the sun was coming up, and I'm looking, and it was really clear to me that this statue, which I've been looking at continuously and day and night, you know, throwing lights on it and doing this and that, looked best in the morning's light. I said, that's the most wonderful bit of imagery. Here is the lady in dawn's early light, and this statue is the symbol of the dawn of opportunity for all these immigrants who came by here. So that's what we need. And I wrote on my little index cards that I write everything on, needed. 1. Invention. New lamp to simulate the morning sun. Needed. 2. New lamp to simulate the sky of the morning. Needed. 3. A fixture to throw this light from the ends of the earth. And I went back. I called my friend Gil Reiling at GE, who was the inventor of the metal halide lamp. And I said, Gil, I need a metal halide lamps, 2 of them new, like this. Is this technically possible? I think it is. Why can't we make them at these? Why can't we make them at these correlated color temperatures? Why can't we make them, with a smaller, more compact arc tube? Why can't we do all of these things? He said, we can. He said, but, and I was telling him about lighting ladies for green skin. He said, do you know some other lady that's important, with green skin? And...
So we're talking a real warm lamp?
1, it's not that warm.
Okay.
And 1 cold lamp.
Okay.
That give you this sun-sky relationship to shine on the statue. And I found places at the ends of the island where we could dig pits and shine the matter at these very low angles. So it was not your typical floodlighting job. You could drive a Sherman tank into one of these pits that we dug so that nobody would even see the lights. I was told very, very authoritatively by the French-American Committee that when I did this specification, that